Here it is, the Great Rock. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm out of shape. Twigs. Darn. Snap. Oh, darn. Okay, here we go. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey join here beneath the high rock for a clan meeting. Oh no, wait, not those cats. Anything but those cats.
My name is George Perry, and I'm here to discuss the Warrior Cats franchise, mostly the original series. And trust me to make a mistake at the beginning of my very first video. I meant to say High Rock, not Great Rock. That's the one at Four Trees. But I'm not going to fix it. I didn't escape from making that clip unscathed. I bought Into the Wild the year it came out in 2003 and waited excitedly for a new book every 4 months. But, full disclaimer, I had no idea of the size and scope of the Warrior Cats fandom until I started making this video. As a technologically inept introvert, it never occurred to me in the early 2000s to go online and look for media related to Warrior Cats. I would have been amazed and envious if I had discovered that other children were making their own YouTube videos about the characters and ecosystem I loved so much. Since I cannot speak to the fandom, I will present an overview of the series and my opinions of its popularity based on 20 years of dwelling on it in private. 20 years, can you believe it? Probably longer than Rusty would have lived if he'd stayed with the two legs, instead of dying at the end of the 12th, 18th, no, can't add, 24th book. I still remember the bittersweet disappointment I felt when I finished reading the 6th book, thinking it was the last. But then, I found a website mentioning more books with the tantalizing names Midnight and Moonrise. My joy knew no bounds. I read a teaser about a great journey and cats from a different culture called a tribe, and I was so excited. That didn't last. After I read Dawn, I cared less and less about the series. I continued to buy the books by inertia, and at one point I had paper copies up to Sunrise, but then I donated them and even stopped reading the series that just kept going because it was just too much, just no, stop, that's enough, seriously! So what are these books even about? In brief, there are, or were, 4 clans of feral cats living in a mostly rural area. The 4 clans are called Thunder Clan, River Clan, Wind Clan, and Shadow Clan. None of them are particularly fun clan, since their lives are plagued by plagues, hunger, bad weather, human destruction of their territory, and bigger predators. A handful of cats die in every book. However, the cats are resilient and enjoy this life, and the original series is based on Rusty's decision as a young cat to give up his comfortable kitty pet home to join the wild and free forest cats. The original series has many subplots, such as the romance between Firestar's best friend Graystripe and a cat from another clan, or the thing with the dogs. But it is largely driven by Firestar's struggle with his nemesis, Tiger Claw/Tiger Star. This struggle is ultimately resolved in the 24th book, but the original series does not end on a cliffhanger or in any way suggest all the action that is yet to come. It can stand alone. I've been calling the main character Firestar because he's a clan leader for most of the series. Names are a big deal in the Warrior Cats universe. The first part of the name is usually a color pattern, or animal. The suffix is kit for the kittens, paw for the apprentices, star for leaders, and for the warriors, it's generally a body part or element of nature. That's how we get fire, heart, misty, foot, squirrel, flight, owl, whisker, and brown, brown butt, ha 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 ha. Clan leaders sometimes change a cat's name when something happens to alter the cat's physiology. For example, two of ThunderClan's elders in the original series are named Halftail and One-Eye, but these were not their original names. Halftail got his tail chewed off by a badger, and One-Eye lost an eye somehow, so the clan leader changed their names. I never thought of this as a kid, but this practice now seems like adding insult to injury. Literally, these cats' names get changed into something that identifies them by their disability. Blue Star once renamed an apprentice whose face was mutilated as Lost Face, and Firestar later changed it, but still, these cats aren't given much choice about how their leaders label them. In fact, I think I know how Brown Butt got his name. It went something like this: "No white fur, don't eat that crow food, it'll give you diarrhea for moons!" When I was a kid, of course I had my own character, the redundantly named Sunstar, who had wings and could smash through walls, and was really kick-ass. Maybe his name is not that redundant, since the clan cats believe stars are the spirits of their ancestors, though they probably don't know that the sun is a star. 20 years later, I freak out at the thought of being in upper management, and would much rather be some humble and helpful Pebblefoot who's always there when you need him. Speaking of warrior ancestors, this is one of the reasons I didn't keep reading after the 4th sub-series. StarClan, Warrior Cat's Heaven, is real. In the original series and the 2nd sub-series, they kept a respectful distance. Firestar sometimes had prophetic dreams, and he received 9 lives from StarClan when he became a leader, and it was mysterious and bittersweet. But then we started going into the Dark Forest, where Tiger Star lurked as an evil spirit, and Cinderpelt got reincarnated. There was that possession thing, and it's just... It's too heavenly here. The series was now more about dead cats than live ones. Anyway, as I'm sure the fandom knows, with this many books written by a handful of different authors, there are bound to be inconsistencies. I didn't really notice as a kid, but I've reread the original series for this video and noticed discrepancies in the first few books. You'd think they'd put in more effort in the beginning, maybe not the close scrutiny worthy of an article in The Lancet, but a good data check nonetheless. Here are a handful of issues. In Into the Wild, ShadowClan attacked ThunderClan. Frostfur said, "Our kits are all safe, thanks to Yellowfang. A ShadowClan warrior killed brave Rosetail and was trying to steal them from their nest, but Yellowfang fought him off." Okay, but who's Rosetail? This cat is not in the list of characters, nor in the story thus far. Furthermore, Lionheart is killed in this battle, and they set vigil for him, but not for brave Rosetail. I think there was no Rosetail. Another thing that is inconsistent, though maybe less obvious, is the matter of the size of the forest. In Fire and Ice, after bringing WindClan back home, Fireheart and Greystripe were too tired to take the long way back to ThunderClan territory, and took what turned out to be a disastrous shortcut through RiverClan. This gives the impression of significant distance, but at the end of the same book, WindClan get attacked by RiverClan. A WindClan warrior manages to run to ThunderClan for help. Then they all run to the WindClan camp to battle, apparently in no time at all. which raises questions about distance. Furthermore, in a dangerous path, the dog pack settles down in Snake Rocks, and, as far as I can tell, sit there for over a month. Now, according to this map, the ThunderClan camp is right next to Snake Rocks, but I think all Warrior Cats readers soon realize that while beautifully drawn, the map of the forest is significantly less useful than even this fun map of SeaWorld Orlando, for example. So if the camp was very close, why didn't the dogs attack sooner? Why did they need Tiger Star to lead them to it? The prologue said the dogs could smell cats, their enemy and prey, before the dogs even escaped. Why did it take so long? I don't know. I'm also thoroughly peeved by the clan cat's use of cobwebs as gauze. Check out this example. Right, Tigerclaw mewed in a commanding tone. Ravenpaw, fetch cobwebs for Blue Star's wounds. Greypaw, find Marigold or Horsetail. The apprentices dashed away. Barley, I think you should leave us now. Firepaw looked over to the loner who had fought so bravely to help them. He wanted to thank him, but under Tigerclaw's fierce gaze, he didn't dare. Instead of speaking, Firepaw gave Barley a tiny nod. Barley seemed to understand, for he nodded in return and left without another word. Wait, I've seen this nodding thing before. So anyway, Blue Star was still lying on the dirt track. Is everyone all right? She asked hoarsely. Tigerclaw nodded. Ravenpaw came charging back, his left forepaw wrapped in a thick wad of cobwebs. Here, he mewed. Shall I put them on her wounds? Firepaw asked Tigerclaw. Yellowfang showed me how. Very well, agreed Tigerclaw. He walked away and scanned the ditch again, his ears pricked for more rats. Firepaw peeled a clump of cobwebs from Ravenpaw's paw and began to press them firmly onto Blue Star's wounds. Two things are ridiculous about this activity. First, how long does it take Ravenpaw to find enough cobwebs to cover wounds? Just the time it takes Firepaw and Barley to exchange nods. Maybe he got super lucky and found a bush completely covered in cobwebs, but this happens all the time in Warrior Cats. Cobwebs are almost always there when needed, when in reality you expect to find maybe one web on some grass, another on a branch, and perhaps a weird one with some kind of writing on it in a barn doorway. Second, cobwebs are described as if they are gauze. Ravenpaw had a thick wad of them on his paw, and Firepaw was able to remove swaths. But spiderweb is sticky stuff. Once the strands touch each other, they entangle and turn into an irremediable sticky ball. This cobweb stuff was just fabricated, in my opinion, to make for a more interesting system. Then there's the honey.
This is my apprentice Sockpaw, who is going to demonstrate how, in the fourth book, Rising Storm, the Wind Clan medicine cat used honey to soothe the parched throats of kittens from ThunderClan who had escaped from the fire. What? Are you out of your friggin' mind? Don't bring honey anywhere near me! I'll fall apart in the effing washing machine if you get me dirty, you nincompoop! Fine, I'll use these guys instead. Wait, no! We don't want to get sticky either! Yeah, what do you have against the honey procedure anyway? Well, medicine cats use moss as the delivery vehicle for honey. But where did they store honey? They couldn't be storing it on the moss, it would just soak into the ground. Did they use a shell? Or a hole in a rock? Or two-leg rubbish? These are details we need to know. Do we, though? Yes. Let me go get my moss to show the procedure. I don't know how the medicine cats did it. Moss is mostly dirt, and it completely fell apart.
In my opinion, the appeal of Warrior Cats lies in its premise of loyalty, teamwork, and shared suffering in a clan structure. In some respects, the clans can be considered found families, since they frequently take in outsiders like Rusty in ThunderClan or Greystripe in RiverClan. While the writing is not great, it manages to convey the day-to-day clan life in minor ways. So much so that I think the filler is more important than the big battle scenes or tense confrontations. It's the little things that bring the society to life, like cats sharing tongues over a meal of juicy vole, laughing and joking during a hunt, or being tongue-lashed by grouchy elders. That's another appealing facet of this society, by the way, that retired warriors are taken care of for the rest of their lives, unlike some places. Nature is as much a tyrant in warrior cats as cruel and ambitious leaders like Broken Star and Tiger Star. For example, the flooded, dried out, or frozen status of the river guides many interactions between ThunderClan and RiverClan. Besides those major natural forces, the books contain dozens of tranquil descriptions that add to the ambiance, provoking visions of a forest that sounds like home. Fireheart poked his head out of the branches to see the snow-covered camp glittering under the cold winter sun. No sign of a thaw yet. Buds were swelling, and a mist of tiny green leaves was beginning to cover the trees. More importantly, prey was reappearing in the forest. He set a brisk pace through the trees, but not so fast that he failed to notice the brilliant green fronds of new bracken beginning to unfurl, or the first pale buds of primroses pushing out of their green coverings. Birdsong filled the air, and the fresh scent of growing things. I think it's peaceful and pleasant scenes like this that explain why these cats choose to live what are frequently short and violent lives. Now we come to my recommendation. I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that a good amount of these books should be tossed in the gorge, like the dog pack. Furthermore, with over 80 books, there's quite a library of information that can be sorted, rearranged, and spat out in different combinations of characters, making the same mistakes and having the same arguments, such that I'm wondering if one of the new writers behind the pseudonym Aaron Hunter will soon be named Katrina GPT Man. Overall, I only recommend the first 9 books. It may be tempting to keep going since they only just make it to the new place at the end of Dawn, but for busy adults new to the series, it's too much.
Check it out, Sockpaw. The concrete jungle. Do you think you could sniff out a pigeon for us? Or maybe a rat that has not been poisoned yet? Are you friggin' kidding me? I am never taking this off!